Good night and welcome to Teleislas News with the most relevant and important information of the day. The National Commission of Human Rights of the Congress of the Republic will meet this Thursday in Providence, where they will seek to listen to the community about issues related to the reconstruction process.
Member of the House of Representatives Elizabeth J. Pang announced to the public that the National Human Rights Commission of the Congress of the Republic will meet in the next few days on the island of Old Providence. In this space, islanders will be able to denounce any situation that affects their rights as citizens.
I want to inform you today that it's already confirmed that the Human Rights Commission will go to the island of Providence next May 5th to attend to all the concerns that the inhabitants of Providence permanently make to take us about some issues that have to do with the reconstruction.
This session of the Human Rights National Commission will be held from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Father Benito's Church Nuestra Señora de los Dolores, located in the sector of Comsi. The meeting will be open to all citizens of the island who wish to denounce any situation that violates their rights.
The Registrar Office report that there are about 1,325 documents that have not been claimed by inhabitants of the island. So they invite the community to be attentive to the delivery of these.
About 1,325 identity documents have not been claimed in the San Andres Registry Office. Of these, 644 are citizenship cards and 676 are minors' identity cards that were processed whether for the first time or a duplicate was requested. On the island of San Andres, there is a backlog of 638 identity documents, of which 305 correspond to women and 333 to men, while on the island of Providence, there are 15 unclaimed ID cards. On the other hand, there are 634 unclaimed citizenship cards on the island of San Andres, which concern 334 men and 300 women, while on the island of Providence, there are 38 unclaimed documents. The National Civil Registry Office calls on Colombians to go to the entity's offices to claim their identity documents, especially their citizenship cards, so that they can participate in the elections for President and Vice President of the Republic on May 29th of 2022.
And Carolina gave continuity to the actions to monitor the current state of the marine and coastal resources of the island of San Andres.
Since April of this year, monitoring is being carried out on the quality of marine and coastal waters in the stations that are part of the Marine Water Quality Monitoring Network REDCAM on the island of San Andres for the first half of the 2022 validity a season of less rainfall, giving continuity to the analysis of psychochemical parameters such as pH, temperature, salinity, conductivity, dissolved oxygen, nutrients such as nitrates, nitrates, ammonium, and microbiological parameters such as enterococcus, fecal, and total coliforms. The purpose of the data generated is to analyze whether the results are within the values considered normal or typical for marine waters for the preservation of the marine ecosystems, fauna, and flora. The results obtained are not representative on the characteristic of entire body waters. However, they allow us to have an idea of the general state of the water in each station. Since the results correspond to specific conditions, the historical analysis of the results of each station allow us the changes in the quality condition of each site, as well as the identified episodes of contamination. The increase in the use of water for different purposes and a growth of the world population have contributed to the increase in the levels. The contamination of these ecosystems is a current problem due to the constant dumping of domestic and industrial waste, which is a source of environmental deterioration.
And a few hours ago, an accident occurred in the pedestrian area of the Big Pond tourist site. In images that are already circulating on social network, it can be seen how the wagon of a Trimoto that is used for cargo transport detaches from its vehicle and leaves 3 people injured. One of the injured persons apparently suffered a trauma to one of his feet. So far, no medical report has been provided, but all the affected people were conscious at the time of the accident. And as we continue in other news, the regional Sena is carrying out a strategy to get closer to the community and make the community aware of the institutional offer.
The regional Sena in San Andres announced a strategy implemented to get closer to the community and make them aware of the institution's academic offer. The strategy was called Sena al Barrio, translated Sena to the neighborhoods, with the objective of bringing the services offered by the San Andres branch to all Raizals and residents. So far, they have been able to visit 6 sectors of the island, such as San Luis, Downtown, Cliff, Santana, Swamp Grove, and Black Dog, where they explain the academic offerings they have of current degree training, complementary training, registration, enrollment, and updating of data from the Sophia Plus platform and guidance from the Public Employment Agency. This strategy was implemented after requests made by the presidents of the community action boards of the island and members of the religious community to provide opportunities for young people who for various reasons have not been able to finish their studies or get a job. Within the activities carried out during the 5 days from April 18th to the 22nd, approximately 200 people were impacted in the aforementioned sectors. This strategy will continue in more sectors of the island, encouraging the community of San Andres to take advantage of all that the educational entity offers.
And after isolated rains during the weekend, which lasted for several hours, the affected sectors were Serranilla, Backroad, Guinea Hen, Schoolhouse, Downtown, among others, presenting flooding in the roads. No emergencies were reported to the authorities.
After isolated rains during the weekend, which lasted for several hours, the affected sectors were Serranilla, Backroad, Guinea Hen, Schoolhouse, Downtown, among others, presenting flooding in the roads. No emergencies were reported to the authorities.
Thank God it wasn't worse. Seriously, we are used to it. When it rains, the island looks ugly. There is a lot of flooding. Yesterday, there was a lot of flooding on the island, especially in Schoolhouse, which gets flooded with water. See if they can help us with this problem that we have had for years, and they do nothing.
These floods occur every time the winter season arrives, so the community asks for definitive solutions so that this situation does not continue to generate difficulties in these sectors.
Muy pésimo, muy pésimo. Aquí con esta lluvia,
We are doing very bad with this rain, and we have always had the same problem with this water. That takes many days to recede. It takes up to 20 days to dry up. We have had this same problem for years. We want a solution regarding this water because there are many children living here and we have to keep an eye on them because they can catch an infection or dengue fever.
Due to the heavy rains that occurred and the proximity to the beginning of the rainy season, the fire commander gives recommendations to the community.
This weekend, we see that the rain start. Recommendation for San Andres and Providence community is that to keep garbage from the street, especially when it's raining, because this garbage go to the system and collapse the system. The house them that build with bigas canales, these bigger canal have to be clean because the garbage come and stuck with it, or leaf, the leaf them, the dust, and if we not clean this system, it will make our house leak or it could collapse the bigger canal. Remember that several years ago, a bigger canal collapsed and killed a guy in Natania. Also last year, a bigger canal collapsed a second floor house beside Claro, just short of cleaning. So the message to the community, the rain them coming, it's not going to be easy, especially when we know that in Providence we have some house that has not yet, the roof is ready. So we have to take all precaution to receive the rain them that come in for the next following months them.
And the blockade of the departmental Ocre by Raizal leaders of the island continues. The protesters report that after 14 days of peaceful protests, they still have not received answers from the governor.
14 days ago, Raisa leaders began a peaceful protest outside the facilities of the office in the archipelago. This in order to seek protection on the issue of movement and residency in the department.
Today we have 14 days out here so at the office of the OCRE, seeking for great solution toward the situation that the office has not complied his real function from 30 years back, come right down to until now. So we calling out to the different type of authorities to come here so and give us a great answer to all the situation that is happening in this office.
Augusto Francis stated that in view of the fact that there has been no agreement reached 14 days after the beginning of the protest, the next step will be to take more radical measures in the face of the indifference of the competent authorities. He also called out on the Attorney General Office, the Comptroller General Office, and the Prosecutor General Office to make decisions regarding the Office of Circulation and Residence.
At this time of the day, we continue with Millicent O'Neill and the news of the municipality of Old Providence and Santa Catalina.
Good evening to all our viewers. This is the most relevant information from Old Providence and Catalina. Last night, the black crab migration process began, and this morning, the ring road was closed for several hours to give this species the right of way.
The road between Fresh and Southwest Bay was closed for several hours due to the beginning of the black crab migration after the heavy rains during the most part of yesterday, Sunday.
The idea is that we close the road to avoid the traffic because we know the vehicle them matching up the crab on the road. So right now we have the area that the crab they are migrating closed by the sun. We don't have no sun and the day is real cool. So we expect the crab that will be on the road.
Crabs came down from the mountain in search of the sea. This as part of their reproductive process.
From last night, after this, 2 weeks more or less of rain and the sun gone down cool a lot, the crab they start migrate. We have crab coming down. We know the crab that come down from up the hilltop to the sea. The crab that coming down right now, the majority of crab not span as yet. They're coming down, they went wet, then we'll go back, they're coming back with span.
The coordinator invited the community to respect the process of the black crab close season.
This period is really important for the crab. The crab they are reproducing. The crab they have the egg. If we catch out the crab them and pressuring the species in this period, we're going to carry the crab them to extermination. So we have to try this period, left the crab them that they can make the process of reproduction.
It's important to highlight that the closed season for black crabs in the municipality is until July 31st.
On the other hand, coordinators of the Afro Museum project were on the island gathering inputs for the creation of this new museum that will tell part of the story of the Afro communities in Colombia.
As a response to the demands by the Black, Afro, Raizal, and Palenquero communities for spaces where their participation in the development of the nation can be dignified, the Ministry of Culture, through the National Museum, has decided to create an Afro Museum.
We are currently working on the institutional and conceptual development of the future of Afro Museum of Colombia, a museum that will have its headquarters in the city of Cali. It is a museum that we hope to open in the second semester of 2024, and in order to plan this whole process, we are going to the communities.
The dialogues are being carried out in the 14 most significant Afro communities in the country.
What we basically want is that the communities themselves give us their appreciation of this idea and that themselves can contribute to the development of the museological plan that this project requires.
The idea is that it contains the history, but the history told from the communities, that the communities themselves tell us what they want to be made visible, how is it going to be made visible, and what is going to be told.
It is expected that by 2024, this museum will be operating in the city of Cali.
This is all information we have for tonight for this section of Old Providence and Catalina. Continue in San Andres, Lisa, with more Teleislas news. Good night.